Medical Terminology, Lesson 5. Sound the same, but different spelling and meaning. Ileum, third part of the small intestine. Ileum, part of the hip bone. The small intestine ileum, notice, is spelled I-L-E-U-M. The ileum that's part of the hip bone is spelled I-L-I-U-M. Urethra. Tube leading from the urinary bladder to the outside of the body. Ureter. A tube that leads from the kidney and inserts into the urinary bladder. There are 2 ureters, one for each kidney. When skin goes bad. Excuse me, folks. Okay. Epithelial cells cover the outside body. They also line organs, cavities, and tubes within the body. A carcinoma is a cancerous tumor that grows from epithelial cells. A basal cell carcinoma is the most common form of skin cancer that usually occurs on sun-damaged skin. Biopsy. Living tissue is removed from the body and viewed under a microscope. Cephalic presentation. A head-first position for the delivery of an infant. A big name for strokes. CVA stands for cerebrovascular accident, more commonly known as a stroke. A stroke occurs when blood vessels are damaged in the cerebrum and blood is prevented from reaching functional areas of the brain. Brain cells are damaged because they are deprived of oxygen and nutrients. This is why people suffer from physical and mental disabilities after a stroke. Cerebrum, the largest part of the brain. Combining form, vasculo. Vasculo means blood vessel. Comparison. Endocrine glands secrete hormones directly into the bloodstream. Exocrine glands release secretions like saliva, sweat, and tears through ducts to the outside of the body. Medical abbreviations. EKG, commonly used, or ECG makes more sense as an abbreviation since cardio begins with a C and not a K. Both mean electrocardiogram. Another abbreviation, EEG, is the abbreviation for electroencephalogram. Hemoglobin and erythrocytes. Erythrocytes are red blood cells. They are responsible for carrying oxygen in the blood. Hemoglobin is the part of the red blood cells that contains iron, carries oxygen through the body, and gives blood its red color. Thrombocytes, more commonly called platelets. These cells are responsible for clotting the blood when there is an injury. This prevents a person from bleeding to death. Quiz time. The answers will follow the question slide. Does this have the ileum or ileum? Ilium, I-L-I-U-M, is part of the hip bone. Questions. Number 1. The third part of the small intestine is called blank. Number 2. A tube leading from the urinary bladder to the outside of the body is called the blank. Number 3. The ureter is a tube that leads from the blank to the urinary bladder. Number 4. How many ureters does a person have? Number 5. Blank cells that cover the outside of the body and line organs, cavities, and tubes within the body. Number 6. A cancerous tumor that grows from number 5. Answers. Number 1 is ileum. Number 2 is urethra. Number 3 is kidney. Number 4 is tube. Number 5, epithelial. Number 6, carcinoma. Questions. Number 1. The picture at the right shows the most common form of skin cancer that usually occurs from sun-damaged skin. It is called a blank, blank, blank. Number 2. Living tissue is removed from the body and viewed under a microscope. Number 3. Blank, blank, the head first position for the delivery of an infant. Answers. Number 1 is basal cell carcinoma. Number 2 is biopsy. Number 3 is cephalic presentation. Questions. Number 1. What is the common abbreviation for a stroke? What do the abbreviations stand for? Number 2, why do people suffer mental and physical disabilities after a stroke? Number 3, the largest part of the brain is called the blank. Number 4, what does the combining form vasculo mean? Number 5, blank glands secrete hormones directly into the bloodstream. Number 6, blank glands release secretions into ducts and lead to the outside of the body. Answers. Number 1, CVA, cerebrovascular accident. Number 2, blood vessels are damaged in the cerebrum and blood is prevented from reaching functional areas of the brain. Brain cells are damaged because they are deprived of oxygen and nutrients. Number 3, cerebrum. Number 4, blood vessel. Number 5, endocrine. Number 6, exocrine. Which word does not belong to the system they are listed under? Under endocrine, we have pineal gland, ovaries, sweat, pituitary gland, and pancreas. Which word doesn't fit in the endocrine system? Under exocrine, we have tears, saliva, mammary glands, and testes. Which word does not fit? The answers are in red. Sweat does not belong in the endocrine system. That's an exocrine. That belongs in the exocrine. And testes are in the endocrine system, not the exocrine. Questions. Number 1, the abbreviation for electrocardiogram is A, EKG, B, ECG, C, EEG, D, A and B. And when I mean A and B, by the way, I mean these two, not the A and B is the abbreviation. Number 2, the abbreviation for electroencephalogram is A, EKG, B, ECG, C, EEG, D, A, and B. Answers. Number 1 was D. Number 2 was C. Questions. Number 1. In this group, one of them, erythrocytes, leukocytes, thrombocytes are responsible for carrying oxygen in the blood. Number 2, blank is the part of number 1 that contains iron, carries oxygen through the blood, and gives blood its red color. Number 3, blank are cells that are responsible for clotting the blood when there is an injury so the person doesn't bleed to death. Number 4, what is number 3 commonly called? Answers. Number 1 was erythrocytes. Number 2 is hemoglobin. Number 3 is thrombocytes, but if you wrote platelets, that was right too. And number 4 is platelets. Finis.